everybody, Crafting Journey here, that journey chick on Instagram. Welcome to another edition of Crafting and Crime Daily. Today I'm going to be loom knitting, still working on the cicada banana yarn. This is the yarn I got from, where did this come from? Premier yarn from it's a sweet roll fruit yarn. Yes, and this is the banana flavored. I wish it smelled like banana, but they haven't made it smell yet. So I am actually finishing up a infinity scarf made out of the blueberry in my room. Yeah, that's where I've been working on it. It's actually done. I just have to do like sewing the ends together to make it the infinity scarf. Try to see where I left off here. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, haven't worked on this. I've worked on some of the diamond painting, and I've worked on my watercolor. I got those glittery ones in last night, and I wanted to swatch them out. Which I did, I'll show you. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. So here is how the swatch turned out. Gosh, look at that. There's the one side, there's the other. And when it dries, it's even prettier. Like when I first painted, I thought, this is very light, but it dried much darker than when you actually paint it, which is good to know. Gorgeous colors. Yep. It reminds me of like lipstick that you would go get in high school with the glitter on it, Yeah. I don't do lipstick anymore. So anyway, that's that. That's what I was sitting here doing last night. Now, today is National Eat Whatever You Want Day. This is the day I wait for all year. And actually, every day, when you live alone, every day is eat what you want. Because if I don't want it, I ain't going to eat it. And there's nobody here to make me. I mean, my sister lives with me. But I still don't eat. I eat what I want. Now, I guess if you're in a big family, there's times when you have to eat whatever you're told to eat. But today is, like if you're on a diet, a really strict diet or whatever, maybe you've been on it since January. I mean, good Lord, if you've been on it since January, you must be doing fabulous. But if you've been on this really strict diet, now's the time to just take a break. Take a day off. Eat what you want. You should always take a break from those diets once in a while anyway. So what would be, like, down in the comments, this is comment time. What would you, if you could eat anything you want, like if you knew it was in the kitchen, you would eat all of it, what would it be for you? Me? Ice cream. Oh my God. I love it. That comes from my dad. My dad was a huge ice cream lover. He had to have a huge bowl of ice cream every night, every single day of his life. Every single day. And God love him, So what is it for you? Curious, is it donuts? Is it brownies? Is it something savory? Maybe, I don't know, spaghetti? Tell me. I would love to know. What are you guys eating if you could eat whatever you want? Yes. So, let us talk about I do want to tell you, oh God, I'm not with it today. I'm really just, this is one of those days where I just wanted to stay in bed. My knee is getting better. I'm not taking the pain medicine like last night I took it a couple of hours before I went to bed because I was really hurting then. But that was it the whole day. And then during the night I took some Tylenol. And my sister and I found this wonderful Tylenol. It's a timed release Tylenol. I don't know if they sell it in my pharmacy, which is the hospital pharmacy, and it's not called Tylenol. But anyway, look for that. And I don't know if the regular pharmacy sells it, but it's great stuff. So I took that, and my hip has just been cramping. Yesterday I took a nap, and from my toes to my hip was just one big cramp. And I just, oh my God, it was horrible. And right now my hip is hurting, and I just want to lay down. I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those days where you're like just, yeah. Anyway, that's me today. But I got my coffee, not with my favorite creamer, but so I understand there is a creamer shortage, a supply chain shortage of creamer. Somebody find out what country that is. What do we not make creamer in the U.S.? Yeah, I don't know. I can hear you now. Oh my God, she's talking about creamer again. What else is on YouTube? So I finished watching the grass cutting guy who came upon the crime scene. So he gets into the, I had turned it off because I said I'm going to watch it later. So he gets into the backyard, and his wife shows up at the house, and a real sweet girl, and he introduces her to everybody. She's like, oh, I'm going to help you out. So he's showing her around the property, and they get into the backyard, and she's like, what is that smell? It's awful. And he's like, oh my God, it smells like death. So they're kind of walking away, so she goes and she mows some of the backyard, and after she leaves, he says, I smelled it too. I don't want to tell her, but he says, I peeked in the back window, and yeah, we're just going to finish this up and call 911. So he finishes up. He says, I'm not even going to finish up the backyard. He says, I'm just going to make sure the front yard looks okay. So he goes out to the front yard. He calls 911. He says, listen, and he explains who he is and why he's there, and that he smelled an odor that was very foul, and he believes that, there might be somebody in the house that's dead. So the police come, and they go in, and they quickly come back out of the house. And they're like, yep, there's a body in there. And so they ask him to, fill out a witness statement, and then he left. He's like, I'm not even going to finish this job. I'm leaving. So somebody else can finish this. But it shook him to his core. I mean, he was pretty shook up about it. He's like, and one of the comments, and I totally agree, this is why you should get to know your neighbors, find out who your neighbors are. Like my neighbor Phil, I said to my sister, haven't seen Phil in a while, and his grass is a little high. And she's like, oh no, we smoked a cigarette together the other day or something, I've seen him. Okay, I'm happy. But yeah, that's, just in case you don't see him for a while and smells start coming from his house, you can call somebody. Such a shame. Anyhow, let's talk about crafting and crime daily. Crime. We are talking about the Mario Batali case, guys. Fascinating trial. First of all, this is in Boston, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And instead of referring to the prosecutor as the prosecution, he says, does the Commonwealth have anything else? Do you have anything else? Does Commonwealth have any other arguments? So the Commonwealth put on their case against Mario Batali, calling a total of 2 witnesses. Now, yesterday I described to you the victim. She was the first witness. And she testified that she was at this bar and she had been groped by Mario Batali during the taking of some pictures, some selfies. So I will tell you that I complained yesterday that, hey, we didn't get to see those selfies. How come we didn't get to see the selfies? So the day started out in court yesterday where the defense attorney for Mr. Batali mentioned that he had been approached by the media because these photos are all public record and they're entitled to them. So he had been approached by the media and the media said, we want to see these pictures. So the judge says, I will let the media see these pictures when I'm done with them. I need them as part of my deliberations. They will get them after the fact. Now, the fact is over. So I'm interested in seeing these photos where she says these selfies occurred while he was groping her. So anyway, following her testimony is so yesterday they called their second witness, who was stuck in traffic and an hour late for court. Yeah. But I mean, I don't live in Boston. I guess traffic can get really pretty bad in Boston. I don't know. They're like, oh, she's on the 495 or, I don't know, whatever. You guys up in Boston probably know. But so she shows up and she testified that they met through a friend. She was dating a lifelong friend of the victim. And the 3 of them would go out and they would chit-chat and have drinks, and they became very, very best friends. Now, they don't talk much anymore because of the case. They're not allowed to talk about it. So they don't talk a lot anymore. And she said, well, we would text message, several times a day, almost every day. So the night that she went to the victim went to this restaurant town, she texts her friend and she says she's with, apparently it was an old boyfriend, and the boyfriend was much older than she was. And it probably wasn't a boyfriend. It was just like one of those booty calls. The guy says, hey, come have a drink with me. And she's thinking, hey, free dinner. I'll go. Much older than her. So this is a conversation she and her friends having. She's like, oh, I hope he's paying for the dinner. And she's like, yeah, heck yeah, he's paying. And, so I'm a little stuffy today. And then she's like, well, thank goodness he's paying because, these are the texts that are going back and forth. She's like, I'm really bored here. Oh my gosh, I'm really bored. Yeah, I want to get out of here, And really, that's kind of the last thing her friend knows until she wakes up the next morning. When she wakes up the next morning, she checks her phone and she sees that the victim has texted her pictures, selfies of her and Mario Batali. And she's like, hey, look, Mario Batali, nothing about groping or, just excitement about getting her picture taken with this celebrity. Now, she says that the groping, she doesn't learn about that until she thinks it was several days afterwards, and it wasn't via messenger, it was in person. It was an in-person conversation, and she doesn't remember the conversation or where it took place or when exactly it took place. And then they go, and the prosecution doesn't go much more in depth with that. But she said, what did she tell you? Well, she said she had been groped. That she said she was, she didn't use the word grope. She said he was putting his hands all over her, her butt and her breasts and her thighs and her face. And they're like, breasts, and then they're impeach, when the defense attorney gets out there, he is just impeaching the heck out of this woman. You didn't say breasts when we deposed you before. You said, whatever she said. And she's like, well, I'm assuming it's breast. She said groping. And he said, well, did she say any particular body area at all? She's like, no, but groping. What else do you grope? You don't grope ankles. Then she got to be a real smartass. You don't grope ankles. But anyway, so the prosecution, or not the prosecution, the defense pointed out all the different texts that went back and forth, because the prosecution wasn't going to bring it up. So they brought out all these texts that went back and forth about these pictures, and, shouldn't I take these pictures to the media, and shouldn't I get money for these pictures? And her girlfriend's like, heck yeah, you should, and encouraging her to do this, that, and the other, getting money for the pictures. Not really talking about sexual assault. And the best friend is like, well, some people just aren't ready to talk about it right away. And so after this, the Commonwealth, the prosecution, rests their case. I'm like, what? That's it? So, okay. So next thing I know, trial's over. Because Mario Batali's defense did not put on a case. They're like, nope. No witnesses. Mr. Batali's not going to testify on his own behalf. We're done. And the judge is like, okay, ready for closing arguments? Yep. So closing arguments began. And I'm telling you, this is a weird state, because the defense went first, which I've never seen that before. In most states that I've seen, the prosecution goes first. They split their argument. They go first. They save some of their time for rebuttal. So because they have the burden of proof, so the prosecution goes first, then the defense, and then the prosecution has the rest of their time for rebuttal. Not here. So the defense makes their closing arguments, and the prosecution makes theirs. And she was saying, she did not consent to being groped, but the defense pointed out that all these texts were like, ha ha ha, funny jokes, and that's what the prosecution tried to play it off as these text messages. She was just joking around. She was just trying to keep it light, keep the mood light. She wasn't being serious, and we don't know. But the defense pointed out, number one, she tried to get out of jury duty by saying she was clairvoyant. Then when she did have jury duty, she violated the court's orders by talking about the case and researching the case. I mean, this woman's credibility was just destroyed by the defense. And I had said it, I don't know if I said it out loud yesterday, very uncredible, this witness. Just this history of lying, So at noon, the case is over. The judge says, okay, I'm going to take everything. I'm going to go have lunch. I'm going to deliberate. I'll see you back here at 2 o'clock for my verdict. So at 1:55, he comes back. And right away, he talks about her credibility. Yeah, she is not credible. He was not amused that she had lied to the court during her jury duty. He said that was egregious that she would do that. And that shows that she has no credibility. So, the other thing was he looked at the photos, and he says, she had no reaction. If these things, he says, I understand that these things may not have been caught during the photo on camera, but if they were happening anywhere on your body, you would have some kind of reaction. Somebody come up and goosed you in a bar, you'd kind of have a reaction, wouldn't you? He says she had no reaction. And then these texts back and forth about, monetary gain in exchange for the pictures, just convinced him that she was in this for the money. So that was his ruling, that she was not credible, that he felt like she was in this for money, So he said, Mr. Batali, I find you not guilty. What? Wow, something actually went the way it was supposed to go? Holy cow. Um, you know, I'm all for women's rights and the Me Too movement, but, come on, ladies. Don't. You're destroying the credibility of all women out there, If it didn't happen, don't make it up, Don't ruin people's careers. And Mr. Batali has been accused by 3 other women. I believe those cases were all settled. None have been in court. This was the only one that went to court, and he was found not guilty. Now, I will tell you, this not guilty and the statement that the judge made will come into her civil trial, and they'll have to dismiss it. There's no way a jury in a civil trial is going to look at what the judge said and give her money. There's no way. She just destroyed her civil case. So Mr. Batali has paid about $600,000 in payments to women, and was found not guilty. He's issued an apology to the other women, but he has lost everything. Absolutely everything. The show that he hosted, the Chew, that's gone. All of his restaurants are gone. He had other, contracts with the Food Network. Everything's gone. And now I don't know about the credibility of these other 3 women. They say he had a propensity for getting drunk and groping women, and I don't know. But I think this particular woman just kind of decided, hey, I got these selfies, I'm going to jump on this bandwagon here and see if I can get some money. And did not help herself. So she did not get anything from this. And he was found not guilty. There you go. Now, I wanted to bring you the Tara Grimstead murder case. Ryan Duke is on trial for that. I started to watch it, and the sound was so bad. So I'm going to fast forward through the sound issues, and hopefully I could, because I know enough about the case from prior stuff that I've seen, where I think I can piece it together for you. So I'll bring that to you tomorrow. Yep. Come on, Peg. Always that first Peg that wants to fight with you. Okay. What happened this day in history? My light pad came on. This day in history. Oh, the great dust storm in what year was it? 34. Massive dust storm. Now you're like, dust storm? How does that happen? Well, here's how it happened. The Great Plains, where the dust storm occurred, had all these grasslands. Well, just prior to and during World War I, all these farmers were digging up the grasslands because of the wheat that was in demand. And they were digging up grasslands, planting wheat, digging up grasslands, they kept getting more powerful equipment and digging up more and more and more until, they'd plant this wheat, and they had this huge wheat production going on. Well, then comes a drought, like no rain, none. So now they have no wheat. Now we have a wheat shortage. All we've got is sand, dust. Sorry, the knee. So they were having these smaller dust storms, and then all of a sudden, on this particular day, May 11th, this huge dust storm carries this dust, like this wall of dust, all the way over to the East Coast. New York, even into the shipping out past New York. That's how far this dust went. So the president enacted laws where they would do these crop rotations, and that way, they weren't all growing the wheat at the same time, and there were, they had to plant grass there, and there was a whole big plan that kind of did away with what occurred there. But the drought was really what was to blame. It really was. But I mean, it was a massive. I dropped tons of topsoil. Yeah, really. 1934. It says, over a period of 2 days, high-level winds caught and carried some 350 million tons of silt all the way from the northern Great Plains to the eastern seaboard. What? Can you imagine? People were just inhaling this stuff and dying. It was horrible. They called it Black Sunday. Okay. All right, guys, that's the show for today. It's a little short. I mean, that trial was so quick. I mean, good for Mario Batali. Bad for the victim. But, don't make up lies. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Anyway, what am I doing for the rest of the day? Oh, Craft With Me Wednesdays tonight. Here, I got the pod in the mail. Hooked it up. I'm looking at my computer. There's no port for an Ethernet. There's no place to put an Ethernet port. I'm like, what? Now, my old computer still works. So I pick up the old computer. It has an Ethernet port. I'm like, what kind of crappy computer did I buy? It has one HDMI port and no Ethernet port. Oh, God, I need to be a better shopper, don't I? So, I plugged the Ethernet port in. It's working. It's running fast. I'm hoping everything goes good tonight. But the computer's been updating, and now it's cleaning everything up, and that takes days. So now it says updating your drivers. Please wait. Waiting. I've been waiting since yesterday. No, it's been doing things in the background. So I'm hoping when all this is said and done, I'm getting a nice, clean, fast run on this computer, and we will be able to do Craft With Me Wednesday smoothly tonight. So I said we were going to do puzzles. I don't know if we are or not. There's some factors that, I got to take care of in the background here, like cleaning the craft room or cleaning the area where the puzzle is. If that gets done, maybe, if I can think logistically how I can do it. I don't know, because of this whole Ethernet thing, I got to think it through. Anyway, but I will be here tonight at 6 p.m. Central, guys. All right, I love you all. Take care. Have a great Wednesday. Bye, everybody.